people call me Roxy. This is from the book Once Upon a Time, not long ago, was the photo, Volume 1 by Jenny Jennifer. And this is chapter, who knows? I don't. Lisa fucking Q, Lisa Brad. NOLA, 2017. She walks into this place and the same as it ever was. From the smell that, not that it was anything bad, but the fact that it was there. And the lack of patrons at the bar, the misrepresentation of girls because there weren't any, and the ones that were either upstairs sleeping, getting high, or sucking. And I wouldn't go as far as to write that they were girls because they were actually not. Mostly transgender, I suppose. We're going for pure political PC awareness because it's been a tough subject to talk about with its laces of fragility still lying throughout any narrative. I think I'll stick with transgender because that's how my friends refer themselves as. And they were my friends. They will always be my friends. Nothing delicate about this narrative. She walked into work for the night or morning because she could never make it on time. If she aimed for 11 p.m., she could be there somewhere before 4 a.m., and that was pushing it because she could barely make that. She didn't need the money that bad, but it was more of an exercise and an actual reason to leave her house instead of staying inside, which made for more stronger depression and more stronger demons. She was so tired of it all, but when that big thick cloud came to rain, it was there to stay until it was ready to move, and that could be weeks, months, years, perhaps your entire lifetime. People didn't just wake up one day and say, oh my God, hey, I'm through with depression. Let's get out on the town. Yeah, right. Medicine, therapy, and any and all types of ways to curb it or end it were still helpless in this new millennium. It's here to stay. Make no mistake about that. First person she sees is Lucy Q. Beautiful Lou. So tall and perfect tits. They're on the nicest, biggest tits she had ever seen, and she has seen a lot. Bitch, I got my shit done. You got your shit done? Yes, bitch, I got my shit done. You got your shit done. I did, I got it done. Okay, cool, you got your shit done. Great, I'm going upstairs. Bitch, I'm serious. You want to see it? So I want to see it. See what? No, I'm good. Oh, you mean you got your shit done? Yes, bitch. I got my shit done. Here, let me show you. No, I'm good, Lucy. I'm good, crazy ass. Bitch, look. All right. I'll have a tiny glance. Little. Lucy brings her dress down, revealing those gorgeous fake tits, and pulls her thong down. She says, see? Yeah, I see, and I see just fine, and I'm good. Thank you very much. That was very sweet of you to share this with me, but it's time to go upstairs. Bitch, I'm only kidding. That's not my pussy. Bitch, I rock 8.5 inches, ho. I'm like, wait, what? You do? No, wait, what? What the fuck was that? That was my scrotum, bitch. Your scrotum? What the fuck, Lucy, bruh? You're so crazy. I gotta go. I'm so fucking Confucius. I'll have to smoke 2 joints now and eat 2 extra Xan bars and do a big old line just to deal with your crazy ass. Bitch, you got any coke? No, actually I don't. Do you have any Tina? Bitch, if I don't got any motherfucking coke, I pretty much don't have any of the fucking crystal meth. And since when do y'all call it Tina? I thought shards had made it way here now finally when I brought it back in the fucking 1900s. And I'm glad y'all got ice anyways. Tina's derived solely from Los Angeles. I'm like, I had that shit and I was 17 years ago. Ounces of pure glass shards. I'm sure by now that you're probably totally confused, and I don't blame you. Yes, Lucy had fake tits. Yes, Lucy had a big dick. She was a tranny in the best sense of the word, and she was a very proud person of highly competitive nature. So she was always willing to share anything with everyone and anything and everyone and whatever. But a little too much. She was highly entertaining though, and she had a hard time distinguishing reality from fact, fantasy to fact. It was also very hard for people to get that message through to her. She would do the most craziest of things sometimes that really made people wonder about her and question her motives and perhaps her own sanity. But in her world, she was just fine, and it seemed like either she did it intentionally, meaning on purpose, or she actually didn't know that it was bad or wrong. She could take a picture of herself and record herself doing things with the pager and have something else. And no matter how many people told her not to, or begged her to not do that, or was just literally told no, it was like not going through to her, and she simply didn't care, or maybe both. Who knows? It was very hard for people to understand her, but she thoroughly enjoyed any attention she got, regardless if it was in good taste or not. It simply did not matter to her. She would post the most craziest things on social media. In her eyes, it was the best thing ever. She never had a problem with her sexuality. In fact, she's likely to tell you how she wanted to get fucked. Like most of us strippers, she was no different when it came to drugs. She might actually like drugs more than the average hoe. No, not Joe, hoe. I said that for a reason. A question that so many people may have pondered and would have been anything to know was lingering not too far but coming out. It's about the scrotum, right? I already know. She dressed so pretty. She would actually give meaning to the word dress because she was so many of them. And she had an interesting face. So much going on with her face that you wouldn't be able to get far with that with questions. By the time you did get past her face, you would soon see her beautiful fake breasts, so any questions that you might have had were out the window. When you figured out she had a penis, you would wonder about the encounters with potential patrons. In this particular club, it was not a problem because the clientele was so different. On the surface, they would seem like normal, regular people. They dress like normal people. They act like regular, normal people, but they were total fucking freaks. They came to this place because it was off the radar, discreet, and could satisfy their every need sexually. Drugs and adult entertainment came hand in hand. It was not uncommon for a very looking Caucasian man, an expensive suit, blonde hair, blue eyes, and a gold wedding band. When the dancers would go on stage, how did they? Did they dance? Of course, how? What would they do with their dicks? What would they do if a customer would actually want a pussy to fuck instead of treat it with a dick? These are all excellent questions. Lucy. If you didn't get your shit done, I replied, then how do you do it? What do you do with your 8.5 inches? I tape it, she could reply. Tape and tuck, or tuck and tape. That means you tuck your not hard dick between your legs upwards towards your asshole, and then you tape it. Now it made sense, but what does the customer do? What does he and he think? What about think? He and she believed it could be very well a couple, because couples like to get freaky, and it was not uncommon and very much welcome. And they were welcome because there was always a chance the dancers would get in a huge fight about who gets to be the dancer upstairs. Everything was done upstairs, and it was always tucked away literally deep in the corners of the club, and the furniture was not pretty. The furniture had cum stains on it, although it wasn't nearly as bad as some of the old strip clubs in Vegas, where you could smell it on top of seeing it when you actually walked in the front door. The ripped crushed velvet seats in Vegas always had these stains on it, and you could see them because of the black lights. The tears came from so many years of people's butts, assholes, the furniture just couldn't. And after so many people's butt assholes, you could bet the club wouldn't ever replace it. It'd be so completely run down to the point of somebody actually not being able to sit down because you would actually fall down. The chair would collapse. They wouldn't help replace it. The furniture would have to be at least 10 years old to get any attention. And it smelled like pussy, bad odor, farts, puke, shit, blood, cum, old used condoms on the floor, not picked up yet, bad breath, and anything else that you might find terribly bad. So, men, that was just the way it went, and the most cleanest couple and men still would sit there and swear like nothing was wrong. Men wanted pussy so bad that these things simply did not stick out because there were so many beautiful girls on stage done. The nicest club and the raunchiest club still had the ability to possess a hidden condom at any given time. A used condom. Yes, it's true. In fact, I know some clubs that had condoms readily available. There's a club in San Francisco that has rooms where they provided gloves and condoms in a handy drawer which were held in a box. Yeah, like the kind of industrial-sized box that you would see at your job. You're probably so disgusted by now, but what is worse, the fact that you were not able to spread disease and they weren't able to spread disease, or the fact that there was safe sex being practiced? Do you think that it would have been better if I had not said anything or mentioned this? No, of course not. Although your condonement would frighten you, right? The last thing you would ever want to think is that someone would think that you thought that this was okay. That's it. That's the real question. Again, if you asked her, she might could say that she loved her when a customer would fuck her old big old beak. Yeah, just like that. Yes, meaning her nose. And what about the damn scrotum? She could say that they thought it was her clit. But what about the sex part? What about the sex part? What about the sex part? What happened when it came time to fuck? She could give you a lesson on that because I sure as hell had no idea. I wanted to know and I couldn't even guess. Trust and believe that this was all new to me. If the customer didn't want a tranny, and I mean if, then she would do the next best thing and let him fuck her in the asshole to the customer. They'd probably think that they got themselves a nice piece of ass, although it would not be the pussy, but it would actually be someone's asshole. So who's the asshole now? That's the question you should be fucking asking. Men should never differentiate between your vagina and asshole. I mean, it's two holes, right? And if you're reading this and you're all like, who does she think she's talking to? I can tell a pussy from an asshole all the time. Well, good for you. My hat goes off to you. And if you can't, it's okay. Shit happens. That's just the way it goes down. And there's actually nothing wrong with it. And the customer did know that you actually had a dick, big or small or medium size. They wanted to do it up the butt. That's just how shit goes down. It's going down right now. Maybe next door. Maybe in the public restroom at the Maple Leaf. Maybe in the club. Maybe any type of club. These are different, which helps me to write this without too much anxiety, even though I get a little help from my friends. I need it. There is it's such a controversial and extremely delicate topic to discuss. Times have changed, and there's a lot more love for the LGBTQI community than ever before. Some countries still practice harsh legal punishment, and anyone that was extremely oriented could have death or life in prison. So I haven't seen the club in a while, and one night a good friend of mine that I've known and worked with for a very long time came over, and when we got to talking, asked him about the club. What I would get from him was nothing usual, insane jokes and ridicule that he could muster right off the bat and would throw me into these huge fits of laughter where I'd actually have to tell him to fucking stop because my stomach would hurt from laughing so hard at his jokes. I would go on to ask him how business was, and of course, the girls. The response was always the same, "You're fine." And I would say like, specific ones with names like Luca, Lula, Sampy, Trisha, Daisy, Stormy, and Shay. The response was the same, "They're fine." Same old shit. Then I asked him about Lucy. "Lucy," he asked, "she's gone." "What do you mean she's gone?" Now, I'm like, did she go to another club? She moved out of state? No one leaves New Orleans, not when you have everything made and there's good food and writing for her to work on. And he was like, no, she said, "Lucy is dead." "What do you mean she's dead? What are you talking about? Why are you telling me this? This is not funny." He says, "She died 2 months ago. She killed herself." "What the fuck, bro? I'm fucking tripping. What do you mean she killed herself?" It was then I began to sweat and I could feel my eyes welling up with tears. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me 2 months ago? I'm sorry, Jen, I'm sorry. I thought you knew." "No, I didn't fucking know. She was my really good friend. I loved her. What happened? Tell me." "She hanged herself, Jen." Tears are now flowing down my cheeks. I'm standing up and I'm fucking yelling. "Why didn't you tell me? Why?" "It's okay, Jen. I'm sorry. She left on a good note." "What? A good note? What the fuck is that supposed to mean?" I'm yelling now and tears won't stop flowing. "He's all good," he said. "It's all good. Everyone made money that day and it was a great day. Everybody was in a great mood. The weather was perfect. It was the day of the red dress run. When people kill themselves, they generally do it, Jenny, in a day when they are most happy. They never do it on a day where they're at their worst moments." I can't believe he's fucking saying this shit. They die like on a day like, I can't believe he's saying this. Like all of a sudden he's some fucking self-proclaimed suicide expert. But this was information he probably found on the fucking World Wide Web. He probably was among every fucking American that goes to their phone or tablet or laptop and Googles suicide by hanging, and then fucking wants to know, and then comes and tells you like they know what they're fucking talking about and there's some fucking therapist. I'm so upset and I'm angry. What about her parents? What about the other girls? I would have gone to her funeral. I would have liked to meet her parents. I don't know, Jen. I don't know. What was her name? What was her name? Don't you even know? How can I get her information? I just immediately realized, and it never dawned on me to get her information. I didn't even know her name. Was it Lucy? Louxsie? Did she literally change it? I was really fucking pissed. I couldn't believe no one told me. To me, it sounded more and more like no one cared. That's the thing about New Orleans. Homicide, suicide, and death by overdose is commonplace. So people that are born and raised here, third, fourth, fifth generation, so used to, they didn't even flinch. It was just regular news to them. I had many questions. Suicide did not sit right with me because I thought I knew her. But I guess nobody knows anyone, do they? I recently came up with this saying that I say to many people, and it's, you don't really know someone until you know them, and even then, you still don't know them. And this would be so true in light of the many suicides of famous celebrities, not just before but after her death. Anthony Bay, Kate Spade. She loved herself, and she loved dancing. She treated it as a sport, and that's for competitive institutions. It's too much for me to believe, and I didn't believe her to choose just an acquaintance. 5 out of people that I told this to that she killed herself or they actually automatically said, did she kill herself or was she murdered? And I'm like, some of you knew her, some did not. Now, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why? Why would you, but you would ask so many questions for me and end up saying that she killed herself? I ended up getting nothing at all, almost like she never existed. Although one of my girlfriends told me the truth about her taking too much Ambien to accommodate insomnia and it had the worst effect. So, on to the very end, that made more sense, but I'm still not buying it. I hope I can cast some more information about this, and if someone did know something about her, I hope you are caught and you're brought to justice to end her life in the maximum sentence to murder with the This is in cold blood. It's been over a year now, and I can't get any answers. For my boss that knew and loved her, worked with her over many years, I want to know, damn it. I wrote about this for her before she was dead, and I have to go back and write the entire fucking story. My boss finally came off her name after weeks of persistent questions. Finally. And I would have never guessed her name in a million years. Never. My beautiful Lula. Her name was Eric.
Dean is next. Dean?
Alright. So, I arrived like 5 days ago on a port from the Netherlands, so if you're like, he doesn't sound like he's from here, you're right. I was invited to a literary festival in Cape Town in 2017, and I was supposed to write something, and I did. So, there you go. 1. And they asked me who, so I speak of a boy. No, I speak of a body negotiating the in-between, not able to escape the politics of an existence. I tell them, I know how a single drop of blood revitalizes Earth to the point where it breaks open to make room for the voices of our ancestors negated. How violence is inherited by poets on a journey like grief inhabits my skin like cancerous trees in Stellenbosch. How I wrap myself around this trauma because it was built on the backs of women, because it is always built on the backs of women who want to spare their sons. I tell them of intimacy, spanning continents, sharing a single spine because we share the pages of this book wholly, and that I do not believe in God. There are limits to my imagination. And I'm drowning already in these unnamed voices who speak to me in Netherlands, Afrikaans, Xhosa, English, and so much more. To build up is to sacrifice your body to be the foundation for the healing of your children's children. And here I am, showing up. 2. They asked me what. And I tell them how memory unfolds in sacred spaces in the shadow of a lion's head. Tell them resistance is a jagged surface uprooted from the bones of conflated tribes, which is to say, a poet's page, which is to say, resistance is born out of the graveyard archive etched out of our DNA. The many ways we past tense ourselves talking about decolonization, affirming the claims laying on our minds, our hearts, our souls. That very essence in this beast carries many names. It is called rape, and it is called past laws, and it is called bullet and zvatkravad, and it is called white. It has always been called white. It is named as black and colored, and it carries the names of 7,000 children indentured. And I wonder, when does a poem become a suicide note, eulogy? When does a throat become a wishing well? I confess, I corroded my tongue with salt water morning on the doorstep of a faculty built on stone flats too early to witness that black body exodus. I tell them, I tilt my body to keep from overflowing. 3. They ask me why, and I point towards street signs that read familiar in my native adopted tongue, a language that has always found a way of othering my confusion, not ringing familiar, though it resonates so well with these pain receptors. I speak of a debt that I've come to collect, a memory embedded in the silence of a mother's prayer. I tell them of the shame I feel in my failing to remember non-westernized names. I am sorry. I'm sorry. 4. And they ask me where, and I claim no lands, refusing to reproduce the mechanisms of an afflicted spirit, unlearning rituals of the institutions that bestowed divinity to our erasure. I mumble this old adage, something to do with homes and hearts. Tell them not where I am from, but where I belong, because I am of these communities, seared behind my eyelids, so I can see them when I fear for my life, when I fear for yours. I am of the soils of Rotterdam and Paramaribo and Linden and Cape Town. Each home is a womb birthing another me. 5. They ask me when, and I tell them I don't know. That I don't know the rhythm of an ever-evolving species, don't know how to codify bodies beyond their initial implications. I believe it to be the time span in between when a clenched fist protesting becomes a weapon, becomes a reason to run, to die, to be little more than an offhanded mention in a newspaper, a conversation amongst friends remembering, or a poem. I want to believe time will tell, but time has lied before. Has given a history of the land of the first people starting at the 6th of April, 1652. Discovery as plunder, a history can be a treacherous thing. 6, and they ask us how, and we answer like this. The last one, so, sorry? So I was working at this high school, doing a writer's course, and a writing course, and there was one boy after the class came up to me and was just struggling with the story that he wanted to tell. I couldn't write it. He asked me if I could. So this is for Muhammad. Save our souls, there's a side man, come and save our souls, it's a side too. Had I known what I know right now, I would have realized that the side man is. His eyes made room for smoke. The land of his father was burning, he had never known. Full Metal Fiction was made to be a sugar-coated transient for the last elements of this second renaissance. Nowhere boy seeks within his own duality. He is not merely a proposition of himself. His masculinity swings low and fragile within this construct. The latter remains hidden in cloth, garment, found in thrift. His mother is merely crumpled up existence, loving the fruit of her sex. Her eyes he sat without body to hold them high. Her name is Fatima. He is not of the sand, clay, and peat soils, not a home so small it is for too many men. 3 generations have separated man and mind beyond the vast existential realization of beard, hair, skin tone, and carry-on he must have. There is no answer for the way that time gently forgets. Becomes then nostalgic epitaph of we have too many memories in stone already. He now has nothing more than scarred tongue and brittle teeth to defend against the gray, the ever-gray, as he wanders past flags of simulated unity, penniless and heartbroken. Smoke now stings the nostrils as the younger ones are looking for night lights to keep safe at, but he is prepared for as much as war as we all stood still and said nothing, as we all stood still and said